Here talking with Michael, fellow MVP. Michael, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm just trying to get sorted, all the going-ons that are happening. But what's new in your world? What are you working on now in your area of expertise? Why don't you give us the background? Who
Okay.
is Michael?
Hi. So I'm Michael Blumenthal. I'm an Office Server and Services MVP, and I focus on Office 365 and helping end users use it. So my background is that I got into SharePoint in 2003, and I've been in IT for over 2 decades. And I started out as a developer, and call it mix of probably 60-70% developer, 30% admin. And I got into SharePoint and really started focusing on collaboration solutions and corporate communication solutions and corporate intranets, and got deep into SharePoint and SharePoint developer, SharePoint architect, up through about 2014 when the cloud happened and Office 365 happened, and that's where all my customers and clients started going. I was in consulting this entire time, and so that's when I started going beyond SharePoint into SharePoint Online and all the collaboration tools around it.
How much are you still working with SharePoint on-prem?
And really, well, so in the environment I'm in currently, yes, we have a SharePoint 2013 on-prem environment, but I'm kind of avoiding it in as much as our strategy isn't hybrid. Our strategy is to leave it behind when we go to the cloud, complicated by the business environment and a merger acquisition thing happening. But no, my focus really is now exclusively cloud, exclusively Office 365, and I've really gotten away from development into not just Office 365 system administration, or really it's more service management, but even beyond service management, it's about user adoption and creating business value from Office 365.
And so when you're out now participating in a lot of events, I know a lot of MVPs participate, like the SharePoint Saturday events and other events. I mean, what are the kind of your focus areas? What topics are you speaking on currently?
Sure. So I participate heavily in the SharePoint Saturday Chicago. So we've got a suburban one that we've had for several years.
That's in April. Is that when that's coming up?
April, or this year I think it might be May, but yes.
Okay.
But yeah, we have a SharePoint Saturday Chicago suburbs in the spring, and then last year we got our Chicago City one back after a hiatus. So we actually get 2 of them in our market, and I like to cover the entry-level topics because it's got the broadest reach, and I think that these things are things that can be easily overlooked when you get a bunch of SharePoint IT people together and they want to go deep into these things. But so much of the business value is just helping everybody, especially people outside of IT, understand what SharePoint, and really not just SharePoint, but all of Office 365 can do. So at the last SharePoint Saturday, the Chicago City one, in the fall of 2017, I gave an introduction to Office 365. And although I've been doing a PowerShell talk for 365 administrators and SharePoint admins and developers for a while, I suspect I won't be doing that all that much more, just because I really am focusing on again, the user adoption story and the business value, and less on the technical detail thing.
You make a great point that I've had this discussion with a number of MVPs about when you have MVPs that are participating in a lot of different events and speaking. And look, I get it that there's you feel like I want to go and focus on the new technology, the exciting stuff, and really dig into that. And and that's a normal thing for technology people, technologists, evangelists, MVPs to want to go and explore the new. But to your point that most people need kind of those baseline topics covered. And
the thing is that it's not necessarily one or the other, because even in the things that we as SharePoint and Office 365 professionals have worked with for years, Microsoft keeps innovating in those areas too.
Exactly.
So,
there's a lot of incremental ads.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, just in the Office suite, which we all think we've got figured out, there's so much that's happening. Every month there's a dozen or more new things that are coming out that are worth talking about, and integrations with Office 365 and more and more things lighting up. And so, right, even those baseline topics, there's change happening.
And that's incredibly important. So I run an Office 365 adoption user group, and we meet every other month. Our audience is people in corporations, often on the business side, sometimes on the technology side, who are responsible for getting business value from Office 365, responsible for driving adoption of Office 365, getting people to use Office 365. Sometimes these people have those responsibilities as part of a digital workplace experience initiative kind of thing. But it's those people that I find are my peers and the people I want to serve, because there is so much that Office 365 brings to that solution set. And one of the things I do, both for my user group as well as for an online user group, the Chicagoland SharePoint user group, is I do a small presentation at each meeting of just what's new in Office 365 in the last month.
Right.
And and that can be not just in SharePoint, but could be in Word, Excel, PowerPoint too. I mean, one of the challenges that I see is that most end users think of Office still as the desktop applications. And so it's up to us in IT and the people on the business side who are also focused on the business productivity stories, to help users understand that as a company, we've bought these tools or subscribed to them from Microsoft to make us more productive. And if you don't know that they're there, you can't get the value from them.
Right. But it's not enough just to provide, here's a spreadsheet or here's a PDF that lists all of the new features that are capable. Like, people need to see them in action. They need to see scenarios where these different pieces come together. And so that's why, I mean, this role, of MVPs can be so critical to, I could go back to that title of the customer success management type role.
Yes.
But that's a big part of the role that we play as MVPs.
And you hit on something very important. So going back to my background, I spent the first 2 decades of my career in consulting. In the beginning of 2017, I left consulting to go work for a broadcast media company. And they include owning some radio stations. But from a user adoption perspective, the sort of in-joke is that there's really only one radio station that people listen to. That's WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Right.
And so, the training and the user adoption, the conversations that you want to have with people about getting them to use these new tools are very personal, individualized conversations. So where you want to talk to them about the things they're actually doing, and introduce them to the tools that they can actually use in their individual work processes to make their day better.
Right. Well, that's always the key to any kind of adoption, whether it's a social network or a new platform, is when you can make it relevant, personalized for the individual, where they don't just see like, here's this new process, but where a process or technology or platform shows how it fits into the way that they work today and can improve the speed, quality, accuracy of what it is that they're doing day to day, then it's sustainable. Then you're going to see adoption and growth. When it's disconnected from that, and people can't see that connection, they will not adopt.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, Michael, where can we find you next? What's your next talk, your event, or where can people find you?
So I hope to be speaking at SharePoint Saturday Chicago suburbs this spring. I hope to be speaking at Microsoft Ignite in the fall. I put in speaking proposals for SharePoint North America. You can always find me at the Chicagoland SharePoint user group that meets online. We're on Meetup. It's run by a gentleman named Mark Vogt. And you can find me there doing my Office 365 news presentation. And of course, you can find me at my user group, the Office 365 Adoption User Group. And our next meeting is February 1st. We meet the first Thursday of every other month. And if you're not in Chicagoland, please dial in.
Excellent. Michael, thanks a lot for your time. I'm going to share out your contact details. Definitely, if you want to get in touch with Michael, ping him. He is responsive. So thanks a lot, Michael, for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.